So down in here there's 4 magnets. One of those magnets was loose. So I mixed me up some JB Weld. I mean, it actually came out when I pulled the commutator out. All this stuff is turning freely. And if you look at the other side of this, the brushes look good, all the springs are intact, all the wires are intact. The hot leg post looks good. So I'm going to put this back in there. I believe that was it, because when I had it all together, I could turn the starter just with the main gear, the drive gear, to a certain point and it would stop. Then I could back it off a little bit and then I could get it to turn, and I mean, it was just very hit and miss. So I think the starter was hitting that rough spot because that magnet was moving around, and that's what was causing a big voltage drop and causing the relay to start clicking and stuff, because there was probably so much voltage drop that I was losing enough voltage even to the coil. So it just started chattering. Basically, the starter would get to a point where it was locked up. So, I mean, there was a lot of dust and stuff in here, and in here. I cleaned all that up with contact cleaner. And if I can get it back together and it works, it's 200 bucks. And it cost me really nothing. Alright, so I have my 12 volt battery. Here's my starter. I got the hot post hooked up to the hot leg on the 12 volt battery. The ground wire clamped in here with the vise. Goes through this old 70 amp breaker. Goes back up to the battery ground. So I get a quick snap action with no arcing. It needs to be quick and tight. And the starter probably draws at least, could potentially draw 40 amps. I'm not sure. I don't have an amp meter to hook up to it right now. Not that big. So I cleaned the commutator with sandpaper and the brushes. Everything looked good and solid. And I put the starter back together. And now I'm going to give it a test. Just going to flip this switch, snap action. There it is. So you might be able to save yourself some money by taking things apart and taking a quick look. Common sense will tell you most things. The magnet in there had lost its adhesive to the shell. There was a lot of dust and things in there, and carbon that needed to be cleaned out. Now it seems to be working. We'll find out when I put it on the motorcycle. I got the starter installed. There, that's the starter. And it does work, but this bike's been sitting for a year. Probably needs new gas and everything. Got a little work to do here, maybe try and get it started. Now, I did put a little seafoam in the gas. Hopefully that helps. But I always have to choke this bike. See if the fuel pump. Of course, the truck starts its engine right as soon as I that is oil around the exhaust manifolds that's been on there for a long time. And, you know, something's leaking by, obviously, but the bike runs. And once that bike warms up, and if you ride it regularly, you don't get that. But I always get that when it's been sitting for a while. Take it for a little ride. Maybe just down the street a little bit. Hopefully it doesn't die. Definitely feels like my tires are really low. I just rode it around this parking lot here a little bit. I didn't want to get too far in case it died and had to push it back. It's not too bad. 30 pounds. I usually run around 32, but that one's definitely low. That's 20. Seems like it's all warmed up. Once it's all warmed up, it seems like it runs pretty good, usually. But then again, like I said, it's been sitting for a year. The choke is completely off now. It's not smoking, well, a little bit. Probably still a little oil burning off on that front cylinder. Probably need to adjust valves and different things. It's got 45,000 miles on it, so you know it ain't no spring chicken. Most of the backfire is gone. Burned off a lot of the oil that was on the exhaust manifold, and this is the mileage on the bike. The real test is always when I shut this thing off, is it going to restart? See if it'll start again. Most of the backfire is out of it. Of course, it always backfired a little bit. It's got a, you know, a big air kit on it and stuff. So, and it's always had a backfire since the day I bought it. And I bought it used with about, I think, 10,000 miles on it. So that's about all I'm going to do today. And that's a big weight lifted off my shoulder, actually. I need to clean it up, but you know, it's really hard to maintain a motorcycle or anything when you're living in an apartment and you're living out of a storage locker. So, you know, she's running. Well, that's it for now. Back on the sport bike. My plates are expired and I have to get a safety inspection. And to be honest, it's almost September. I don't know if I'm going to even bother with that this year. You know, this is it. It's 10 by 10. It barely holds these two motorcycles. I had a third one. It got stolen. I didn't know what I was going to do with the third one. So I'm taking the money I got from that. It was almost brand new, and putting that money down on a car. And that was my little CRF 300L, which was a cool little dual sport. Great bike for getting around town, getting up trails and doing just little stuff. And I even used it to commute back and forth from work, which is about 15 miles, but it was 70 miles a gallon. It could be a rough ride on a windy day, but you know, it got me there. And I missed that bike, but I don't think I'm going to buy another one. They're hardly available. So it's time to get at least one vehicle in my life that I can count on, you know, that I can use in the rain and the snow and all this. So that's what I'm doing. That'd be the end of this one. Stay upright, my friends.